Thank you for joining today. My name is Wendy Bray, and I'm the program specialist, one of the program specialists here in the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Realization. Today, I will be covering doing business with the Department of Veteran Affairs, especially as we are entering into the third quarter. For some of you who are new on the call during today's session, this is what we will cover. Basically, I'll give an overview of the Department of Veteran Affairs. I will discuss our business lines that we have, uh, how we buy, what we buy, where we buy. I'll also provide you with some tips for success when looking to do business with VA. You'll also be provided some useful resources as well as, and apologies, I forgot to remove this at the end, but I will not be covering OSDBU initiatives. That's some information that we had from last year. So before we get started, if you are new to WebEx, if you've been here before, you already know the routine, but if you are new to WebEx, if you have any questions throughout this session, I will be answering questions. Please use the Q&A button or the tab and input your questions there instead of in the chat. I know sometimes we or the participants will have their own conversations within the chat, and it's going to be a little bit hard, or not even a little bit, it's going to be hard for me to follow and respond to your questions during this live session if you put your questions in the chat. But if you put it in the QA, I will be able to see it. Now, how do you get to the Q&A? If you are using your laptop right now, at the bottom to the right-hand side, you should already see the chat open. Q&A open, or just select those three dots. And when you select the three dots, the Q&A will come up. If you are on a mobile device, if you're on the app or on the mobile device on the website, then what you can do is select the three dots. I believe they should be on the right-hand side at the top of the screen. And when you select that, then it should say have a tab that says Advanced. Click on Advanced and then scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you should see Q&A. Now, this session will be recorded, so in approximately 2 to 3 days, everyone will receive a link at the email address that you registered with the recording link, which will be on our YouTube channel, as well as a link to the presentation. So that will also be provided. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, this is VA's mission and OSDBU's mission statement. In 1930, the VA was established as an independent agency, and it elevated to the cabinet level in 1989. So the central office, which is VACO, what we call it, is in Washington, D.C., and it's our field facilities, and we have throughout the U.S. and its territories. Now, I'm going to cover VA's main business lines. First, I'm going to start off with the Veterans Health Administration. So, the Veterans Health Administration is home to one of the United States' largest integrated healthcare systems, providing comprehensive care to 9 million veterans annually. Now, it comprises of over 172 medical centers and provides care to, um, I want to say, over 1,100 outpatient sites of care. We call them our community-based outpatient clinics. So the VHA medical centers provide many services, including traditional hospital-based services and those additional medical and surgical specialty services. Some of the medical centers offer advanced services such as organ transplants and plastic surgery. And also with the Veterans Health Administration, it's also responsible for biomedical research. Now, the Veterans Benefits Administration. So, VBA, as we call it for short, it acts as the central hub for initial registration, evaluating eligibility, and efficiently administering 5 key non-medical benefit programs offered by the VA. These comprehensive programs provide substantial financial assistance, educational opportunities, and those essential support services that are significantly improving the lives of our nation's veterans and their loved ones. Now, I'm going to highlight just a few services, which is compensation, pension, education, and VA home loan. There's also the Veteran Readiness and Employment program, which helps veterans with service-connected disabilities find suitable employment, and develop skills needed to succeed in the workforce. Now, as I'm going through our main business lines and some of the program offices that we have, one of the things that I want everyone to think about is if you are not, you're on the call today and you're not already doing business with VA, think about some of the services that they are providing to the veterans and their family and where your business services and goods will fit in. I see we do have a question. When you get a moment, will you post your contact information again? Yes, at the end of this presentation, I will actually have we actually have a slide of our contact information. So if you want, you can grab that information at the end of this presentation. As a security provider, we are Save, Assist, and Calm Conversation certified and proud participants in the Governor's Challenge. Our approach focuses on deploying high trained professionals. Does this align with the VA's mission and how we can best highlight this on our bids? Um, I know that the VA does purchase for security services. Not really sure if for your business, what you provide is exactly what they're looking for. But one of the resources that I will discuss later on at the end is market research, how to conduct market research to identify with your customers. Today, specifically with VA, what we are looking for, how to identify what we are looking for, what our need is, what our barriers are, and how basically you can position your business to basically provide whatever services or goods that we're looking for. All right. Now, the National Cemetery Administration, NCA, National Cemetery Administration, it honors our veterans and their families by providing those final resting places in national cemeteries, shrines, and tributes commemorating their service and their sacrifice to our nation. NCA operates over 100 national cemeteries and over 30 soldiers, lots, and monument sites in 42 states, including Puerto Rico. More than 4 million Americans, including veterans of every war and conflict, are buried in VA's national cemeteries. Now, VA also provides the funding to establish, expand, improve, and maintain over 100 veteran cemeteries in 49 states and territories that also include trust lands, Guam, and Saipan. And for veterans that are not buried in a VA national cemetery, the VA provides headstones, markers, medallions to commemorate services. So if we have any businesses that are on the call today that provide those type of services, for example, as I mentioned before, headstones, markers, or medallions, then you know that the NCA is one of our main business lines that you would target to do business with. Now, in addition to our main business lines, VA has staff offices. And what you see on the screen today is a list of our VA staff offices. Each one of these offices, either in the past or currently, has collaborated with a range of vendors, exploring both off-the-shelf and customized solutions tailored to meet whatever needs that office needs. Some services that have been solicited have been financial services, data management services, administrative support services, communication services, including event management services. As my office and the OSDBU office, we have, even though we fall underneath the secretary's office, we have solicited for those types of services as well. And that does not include all of the services that these main offices, I'm sorry, these staff offices have solicited for. This is just to name a few. Now, other VA programs. Here is a list of other VA programs that solicit for services and products. I originally mentioned our main business lines, which were three: VHA, VBA, and NCA. And then I showed you our staff offices, that information. And so there are other offices as well that focus on food and retail services, pharmacy services, including property management services. So I'll start off with the Veterans Canteen Service and Nutrition and Food Service. You've either heard VCS or NFS. And their operations include the retail stores, if you've ever visited any of our VA facilities, online shopping, if you've ever gone online to shop, and then cafes, a few coffee shops, vending machines, catering services, food trucks, as well as retail optical services and delivery of food items. Now, VCS is charged with basically providing reasonably priced merchandise and services for the comfort and well being of veterans that are enrolled in VA's healthcare system, but also to their families, their caregivers, employees, and as well as volunteers and those visitors at those facilities. The canteen locations include the VA medical centers, those CBOCs, or community based outpatient clinics, or other outpatient clinics and healthcare centers. Also, coffee and food services are offered in select Veteran Benefits Administration locations. So regionally, I was mentioning VHA facilities, but as well as Veteran Benefits, so VBA locations. There are also solicitations that request for updates to fixed kitchen equipment that have been solicited. So when you look at identifying whether or not the canteen service is a office that you want to do business with, it's not just selling the products, but within our kitchens at our facilities, they also request for assistance with whatever upgrades or developments need to be made with those facilities. Now, the majority of enhanced use lease products or projects, provide safe, affordable housing for veterans and their families. The properties are leased to leasing entities that finance, design, develop, construct, or rehabilitate, and then also operate and maintain the property. So if there are any businesses or vendors on the call today that provide this type of service, then for property management, our enhanced use lease program office could be a potential area for you to look to do business. Now, as it pertains to this type of service, these leasees utilize various sources of financing, including but not limited to low income housing tax credits, state and local government funding, grants, commercial loans, and public issue bonds. So the consolidated mail outpatient pharmacy, which is the last one that I'm going to speak about of our other program offices, they have facilities that are located in Kansas, Arizona, Massachusetts, Texas, Tennessee, Illinois, and as well as in South Carolina. And in 2023, the Consolidated Mail Outpatient Pharmacy, or CMOP for short, when you're looking on SAM.gov and you look for any type of opportunities or any solicitations, you'll always see CMOP. CMOP is in Tucson, Arizona, and back in 2023, they actually mailed over 23 million prescriptions. Now, the VA turns groundbreaking research into real world solutions through the Technology Transfer Program. So, the TTP, or the Technology Transfer Program, it works alongside VA researchers to safeguard promising inventions with intellectual property protections. They then bridge that gap between research and industry by basically facilitating licensing agreements in those collaborations. This is for any inventors that we currently have on the call today. This program ensures valuable discoveries become products and services that directly benefit our veterans, the public, and also the U.S. economy. In addition to contracting, outside of this program office as well, there is grant opportunities. Because our office does not focus on grant opportunities, I don't provide too much information here, but I do direct you, if you are interested in any grant opportunities, to visit grants.gov to explore those opportunities that may exist. So I'll stop for a second to see if there are any questions. Does the VA procure professional staffing services? Yes, actually they do. Depends on whatever the professional staffing services are. Um, I know that for services, for example, underneath VHA, we're looking for some doctors or nurses to be able to assist over in the medical centers. They do solicit for that, and I believe Don't quote me. I do believe that that is solicited on our federal supply schedule. Um, how would I find VA facilities that need their ovens repaired or maintained? All solicitations are going to be, or those solicitations are going to be on sam.gov. So you could look for that on SAM. They also, on the medical center level, have their industry days. If you reach out to us, and again, my contact information will be at the end, or Amy or Curtis, if you could place our group mailbox, osdbustratcom.va, osdbustratcom at va.gov, excuse me. If you place that on the in the chat, then you can contact us, and then I can be able to provide you the information for that. Is the VA needing a women's inpatient behavioral health facilities? I am not sure about that, but if you reach out to us, I can reach out to one of our point of contacts over on VHA side, probably starting with one of our small business liaisons, to see if there is a need for that. If I'm understanding correctly, your office can connect us to the cemeteries and VBA in addition to the VHA. That is correct. So all of us fall, all those different offices that I just mentioned, we fall underneath the Department of Veteran Affairs. So it has many, I always like to think of things as like an octopus. The head, of course, is the Department of Veteran Affairs, especially our VACO office, but then it has many arms. VHA, NCA for the cemeteries, and VBA are a part of those arms. They are our main arms, though, providing those different services. And then those staff offices that I mentioned are also those arms that provide the additional services. There was a question about building housing. Let me go back for a second. Former President Biden approved $300 billion to build affordable housing for unhoused veterans. How do I Wait, I'm sorry, it jumped up. How do I submit my company to build this housing? First, we got to identify which federal agency this will fall underneath. I know for housing, it's usually with HUD. Department of Veteran Affairs has partnered with HUD before. We had the HUD VASH program. I can't speak to that on the call today because I am not a part of that program. But send us an email, and then I can check to see with the program. I can check to find out who would be the best contact to see how you would proceed with being able to assist with this need here. So I will answer a few questions afterwards, but I'm going to go ahead and keep going. But I will come back to your questions. And I do want to let everybody know if I am not able to get to your questions during this live session, I will follow back up afterwards, and you'll receive a response from me sometime by next week because I'll review it afterwards. So now I'm going to go into what VA buys. Now that you've learned about our VA services, our offices, those major business lines, and the staff offices, now I'm going to discuss our purchases. So the products and services we acquire are designed to benefit the nation's veterans, ensuring they receive the best possible care and support. So when you think about targeting VA as a potential customer, what you want to think about is not just what I've covered, but also when you're conducting your market research, what is VA's needs? Sometimes those needs and priorities change. So you want to make sure that you also stay up to date. There are various resources that we have out there. We have VA News. So we are very active on social media platforms, as well as when we have our internal, when I say we, all majority of all of our offices, when we're communicating whatever those needs and barriers are, you want to make sure that you stay up to date on that information to identify how you're going to position your business to basically do business with VA. Now, when it comes to what we're buying, this includes acquiring, for example, essential facilities and construction services to build and maintain healthcare facilities, as well as those professional services that are aimed at improving operational efficiency and care delivery, as well as additionally, we do procure, and I believe somebody that earlier, we do procure security and protection services to basically safeguard VA properties and to ensure the safety of both staff and veterans. Now, what you just heard me mention right now, that is not everything. This is just to summarize it for the basically 50 to 60 minutes that I will be speaking today. But when you do conduct your market research, you will be able to identify not just if VA is buying or purchasing what you're selling, but also how often. If is there really a need with VA as opposed to, say, for example, another federal agency? Um, and when it comes to discussing if there is a need, how many other, vendors out there are you competing with, right? If it's oversaturated with VA, is it oversaturated maybe with other federal agencies? Those are some things as a small business you want to think about. Essentially, not when you're just doing business with VA, but just doing business in general. So this slide, it'll be provided to you. It's not much for me to basically go over, but it's basically showing you the top 10 NAICS industry codes that VA used back in fiscal year 22 to fiscal year 24. And on here, you'll see that the top categories were over on pharmaceutical and medicine manufacturing, insurance carriers, as well as the NAICS code for computer system design and related services. Now I'm going to talk about our contracting offices. So these offices, they are located in our Office of Procurement, Acquisition, and Logistics. We like to call it OPAL for short. And majority of the time, they assist the main business lines and our staff offices in procuring services and products. So basically, when you visit SAM or when you visit our forecast of contracting opportunities, you will see where it says SAC or TAC or NAC. These are our contracting offices that are assisting the main business lines and those staff offices with procuring whatever goods and services they're looking for. Starting off with SAC, Strategic Acquisition Center, they have two locations. One of them is in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and one is in Frederick, Maryland, for those individuals that are familiar with the DMV area. The SAC is strategically organized to basically meet the veterans' healthcare needs and support VA medical centers nationwide. The SAC in Fredericksburg, their office primarily supports VHA, the Veterans Health Administration, with procurement needs through the award of strategic sourcing and contracting vehicles. And so the SAC in Frederick, Maryland, their office supports our nation's veterans by providing life cycle, innovative acquisition solutions and business advice to its customers, primarily for those professional services. Now, with the National Acquisition Center, NAC, they are responsible for supporting the healthcare requirements of the VA and other government agencies. And NAC is very familiar, or I'm sorry, vendors are very familiar with the NAC because if on the medical side, those vendors that provide medical goods or services under the federal supply schedule and the national contract programs. So they may be familiar with the federal supply schedule, the VA federal supply schedule. So for those that are not, under the VA federal supply schedule and the national contract programs, the NAC, they award the high volume multiple award schedules, national contracts, and those blanket purchase agreements for the acquisition and direct delivery of pharmaceuticals, medical, surgical, dental, and patient mobility equipment, supplies, those high technology medical equipment, temporary allied healthcare staffing services, what I mentioned earlier, and then those just in time distribution programs. And then lastly, for our technology acquisition center, I think it's right there in the name saying technology. They provide the streamlined business and contracting solutions for a variety of major information technology programs. We do have our vendor, what is it, IT vendor management office. They actually work with our VA buyers to um, basically they facilitate briefings with our VA buyers and the small businesses. So if you are interested in that, you can definitely, if you have not already, had a briefing or inputted your information into Pathfinder. I do recommend visiting Pathfinder, which is pathfinder.va.gov. And I believe Curtis is still here, so he's going to help me out a little bit. Put Curtis or Amy place in the chat the Pathfinder website, excuse me. You can go ahead and upload your business capabilities. And I know the Technology Acquisition Center, our IT on our IT side, their office actually does reach out once a vendor inputs their information. If we have buyers that are interested or currently, using or soliciting for the type of services or goods that they have, then they will reach out to schedule a briefing. Before I now discuss where VA buys, let me go over to the Q&A to make sure to answer just a few more questions. With the current landscape of layoffs, budget cuts, etc., what is the forecast for contracting the rest of the year? So right now, Judith, we don't have that information. If you do visit, I still do recommend during this time frame, go still visit the forecast, still visit SAM. On SAM, you'll see a few requests out there, even though you may not see a lot of contracting as you used to a few months ago. I mean, solicitations, excuse me. Even though you may not see a lot of solicitations as you did a few months ago, you still will see some sources sought and requests for information. Market research is still being done. I do recommend, if you have the capabilities to do it, respond to those. And then once we receive the green light, then you will start to see those opportunities that are coming up. But as of right now, we don't have any information to provide except for basically we are still soliciting for services. I've done a little bit of research the last few weeks, and I see that those solicitations are coming from underneath the Veteran Health Administration and the Veterans Benefit Administration. I think I've seen a few from NCA. So as I cover just a few of the services and products that they solicit from our main business lines, if and as well, I'm sorry, let me include information technology as well. So if you are on the call and you're providing those type of services, and even if I didn't mention the type of service that or goods that you provide, I recommend still visiting SAM and our forecasting. Just look to see where we are. Where would I go to engage the VA regarding providing living facilities for veterans needing assistance? So if you're saying that you can provide the living facility for veterans, then you can reach out to us and I can provide you that information. I currently don't have that information. If you're speaking in terms of you're looking for a facility for a veteran, you can still reach out to me and I can provide you with a social worker information from a medical center that's near you, as well as with a patient advocate so they can be able to assist. How would I find information on VA programs that support in-home healthcare along with active contracts in that area? You can reach out to me. I don't have it at the top of my head right now, but I do have a point of contact that you can reach out to if you are the person that's providing in-home healthcare. So we do have a program office. I apologize, I just can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I can provide that information to you. And when I say reach out to me, please send an email to that OSDBU.com mailbox. And yeah, I'll get the information for you. How would I connect with OPAL to obtain opportunities in freight movement? As I mentioned before, opportunities are going to be on SAM. Forecast opportunities are going to be on either Acquisition Gateway or it's going to be on, I believe I do have it in the presentation, it's going to be on Acquisition Gateway or on our vendor portal on our legacy forecast. So if those opportunities do exist, I believe they do. I've seen a few, if I'm not mistaken, when I've done a little bit of market research the last few weeks. How would I connect with, I already responded to that one. Are you going to talk about the Freeport program today? I'm not familiar with the Freeport program. If you could expand on that. Um, if I know of it, then I can speak to it. But if not, I can definitely point you to someone today. For today's session, though, I plan to just speak about VA, how to do business with VA, and basically the services and goods that VA actually solicits for. And then some great resources basically to increase the business visibility and competitiveness in this market. All right, so I will move on and I'll still get back to the questions later on, but I'll move on to where we're buying. This is a map, and you can actually find it by using any search engine and just type in VA, uh, I'm sorry, VHA and VISN, Veteran Integrated Service Network, and this map will populate for you. Um, we use NCO and VISN interchangeably, but the Veteran Integrated Service Network, for any veterans that are on the call today, they may be familiar with it because this map is used to identify where you can look for uh, your where services are. So we also use this for contracting. And on the contracting side, you will hear us say network contracting offices. And the NCOs, they share the same identifying number I stated before as the VISNs, Veteran Integrated Service Networks, that they are located in. So you'll hear us use it interchangeably, and each NCO provides local, regional, and national procurement support towards providing the best possible care and support to our veterans. We also use this map for identifying which region the small business liaison is in. So, for example, if you are looking for care in Sacramento, California, you would look at Vision 21. If you were looking to do business in Sacramento, California, you would look at NCO 21. If you were looking for to do business in California, if you're looking for some start off support with the small business liaison, you would look at this map and also see Vision 21, and then you would look through the list for the Vision 21 small business liaison to get their contact information. Now, how does VA buy? Acquisitions are accomplished by sealed bidding, negotiation, or simplified acquisition procedures. Each method is designed to promote full and open competition to the maximum extent possible, allowing all responsible bidders and offerers an opportunity to compete. Each facility purchases most of the requirements for direct delivery through its local acquisition office, which I just covered that information. So the System for Award Management, which is SAM.gov, it is a GSA system that streamlines the federal procurement process. So you will go there to search for those various notice types. For example, solicitations or sources sought or requests for information or even pre-solicitations. Even the award information, those notice types are included on there as well. Now, blanket purchase agreements, they are a way to basically simplify acquiring frequently needed supplies or services that fall below a certain dollar threshold. And they are ideal for those situations where an agency has an ongoing need for specific items, basically eliminating the need for individual purchase orders every single time. BPAs, still blanket purchase agreements, they are set up with pre-approved vendors who meet the agency requirements, and there can be either a single vendor, which is considered a single award BPA, or those multiple vendors, which is a multiple award BPA chosen through competition. A little bit more about BPAs. Once a BPA is in place, the agency can place orders against it without going through the full procurement process each time. And so basically, this saves time and resources for both the agency and the vendor. And unlike some of the other government contracting methods, BPAs have a predetermined budget and a defined scope of products or services that can be purchased. In addition to those, we also have the National Acquisition Center Contract Catalog Search Tool. As you recall earlier when I mentioned the NAC and what they're specifically searching for, this tool is the most comprehensive online listing of the VA NAC active nationwide healthcare related contract vehicles. And it's open to VA as well as other government agencies. So the contract catalog search tool, it contains over 1,600 active contract vehicles and over 1 million catalog line items, basically pertaining to VA's federal supply schedule contracts and national standardization contract vehicles, including those contracts, blanket purchase agreements, and basic ordering agreements. Now, on this screen, these are our IDIQs. I actually do have an updated list. So when you view this presentation by the end of this week, what are we, Thursday? Give me until Monday. By the time you review this, it'll be updated with fiscal year 24 information for the IDIQs and the GWACs that VA used. This is basically from fiscal year 23. And the reason why I included this information is so that you can see what contracted vehicles VA is using. Sometimes when businesses are doing business with VA and they're like, oh, I can't get in, I'm submitting my information, but I'm not hearing from anyone. If that service is being solicited off of a contracting vehicle and you are not on that contracting vehicle, that could be the reason why you are basically not being awarded contracts. Now, I said possibly could be. So when you are looking to do business with VA or any of the other agencies, that is something that you definitely want to look at, is how are they soliciting for these services, so that basically you can position, or I always say services, but goods as well, so you can make sure that you position your business basically going where they are, meet them where they're at, basically. Now, before I go into a few tips for success, let me go back to the Q&A to see if there are a few questions. Does the VA need child care providers? Actually, the VA does and has solicited for child care providers. I'm not sure about currently, but I've definitely seen it in the past. So definitely do some market research and you'll be able to identify that information. Is there a department that manages contract opportunities for emergency management and disaster response during natural events? Um, I am not sure, but I can definitely look into that. And what I'll do is I'll mark this question pending and I'll look into it and then I'll send you an email. What is the NAICS code on SAM.gov for building maintenance and property maintenance as well? I am not sure because so many of them, but what I do recommend is if you want to identify NAICS codes, that is managed by the Census Bureau. So go on the census website and you can actually use any search engine and just type in census and then type in NAICS. And then the actual website will pop up and you will know you're on the actual website because it will say .gov. I know there is another website that says NAICS, but it's .com. But if you want the government website that has the NAICS codes, I think it has the last 3 years of the NAICS codes, and you can input a keyword or you can even type in the NAICS code itself. Definitely go to the census website for that. I'm sorry, my screen keeps moving up. Okay, where would I go to engage the VA regarding providing living facilities for veteran needs? I mentioned that earlier. What department do I need to contact to get a contract for my logistics company as an owner operator of a Sprinter vehicle? I mentioned that earlier, how to get that information. I've heard rumors that moving forward, VA may place greater emphasis on VOSB's opportunities. Is that accurate, or will SDVOSB continue as the sole priority set aside? So we do have a hierarchy. SDVOSB is the first in the hierarchy. VOSB is second. AA and Hub Zone is third. Women owned and small business is fourth. And then the fifth is full and open competition. What is the current policy concerning the need for those to review contracts and contract modifications? My understanding was Doge's involvement is related to a dollar threshold in particular next. I actually don't have that information, so I'm not sure. Hello, everyone. I'm trying to connect with the logistics department at the VA. What should I be doing? I mentioned that earlier. You can definitely start with our office, the OSDBU office, and reach out to us, or you can speak with your small business liaison. If you're specifically targeting the healthcare logistics office, it depends because their purchases are different. So you can definitely start with your small business liaison, or you can reach out to us and I can locate a point of contact for you. I'm interested in vocational rehabilitation contracts. I did mention that information can be found on SAM, or if there aren't any current solicitations, you can definitely look to see if there's anything that's forecasted. Also, don't forget to, I always say don't forget, but you may not know, our office here in the OSDBU, we actually host like mini industry days, business information sessions, those type of events with our VA buyers, as well as sometimes we'll host them with the primes that are looking for subcontractors. So definitely visit our website. There may be opportunities that are mentioned there that are discussed that may be coming up. Our company responded to a source notification last month, and I've reached out to our VA Small Business Liaison, and she states that they are not meeting with any prospective contractors because the VA is restructuring. Is there someone else I can reach out to with questions? Yes, you can definitely reach out to us as well. During this time frame, you may encounter where we say that we don't know because we genuinely do not know. As I mentioned when I first started this session, as of right now, this is a great opportunity to basically reposition your business if need to, and conduct some market research to be ready when the green light is lit for contracts to basically start being posted again. Um, or to basically pivot if there are any changes that are there. So again, you can always reach out to us. But if you encounter, please don't be discouraged if you encounter speaking with VA personnel and we're saying we don't know. It's just that we don't know. But as soon as we have additional information for the community, we will definitely provide it. So I will continue on because I want to make sure I am able to get through the slides, and I will definitely come back to these additional questions to make sure I can at least cover almost if not almost everybody's questions before you guys leave today. So one of the things I do recommend focusing on is this is a framework for success. And basically it's going to outline the information, or it does outline the information used to help small businesses efficiently and effectively position yourself to do business. It also demonstrates steps that promote small business success in federal government contracting. And so in this section, you see there's awareness, risk mitigation, access, procurement mechanisms, performance. Awareness, let's start off with what are those on here? Of course, I mentioned prerequisites. Are there any certifications? Are there what type of staffing? Let's just say for teaching. They say I need somebody that has 5 years of experience. Do you have somebody in your staff that has those 5 years of experience? Say, for example, they say I need someone that has and I'm just gonna make some stuff up off the top of my head. I need somebody that has a certification of 5 years of a certification in, plumbing. Do you have somebody, or you yourself on your team that has that experience? Doing some market research, you could go back and look and see how have they been purchasing, what have they been requesting from the vendors, what were the requirements, what were some that they said, it's not a requirement but it will be great for you to have. And then basically if you don't have it, then making sure that you do. So it's awareness of what exactly are they looking for, risk mitigation. Accounting is a good example of that. Do you have your finances in order? If they go ahead and award this contract to you and they're saying, okay, you're going to start off, this project's going to be about $50,000, do you have that $50,000? Or if you don't have the $50,000, now you're not going to be successful with being able to follow through with whatever is needed on that project. So you want to make sure wherever there is a risk, of course, no one is able to identify every single risk, but as much as you can, do a SWOT analysis, identify your strengths, your weaknesses, access, making sure that your business is visible. Um, I mentioned a few of those ways. Industry days that they have at the medical centers. We also have industry days here. They're virtual, they're free. So you basically just sit at home and see it from your computer, you know? So that's one way. Also, there are some that are in person. And of course, everything is not going to be free. So you just have to look and identify if attending those events is going to be a great return on your investment. If it is, then definitely attend. Another one is for example, social media platforms, as I mentioned. Some of us, for example, we are on LinkedIn. We do post our information about the various different type of events that we have on there. You can actually connect with those individuals that you are meeting, our VA buyers or members of the acquisition team. You could connect with them on those social media platforms as well. LinkedIn being one of the number one ones that we use, and that me and my colleagues, we actually connect with businesses on there as well. We do post about, activities and things that we have with OSDBU, and OSDBU also has its own, LinkedIn account as well. Um, Procurement mechanisms. I mentioned that earlier, the contracting vehicles. If you're not in a contracting vehicle and you're purchasing from the contracting vehicle, then that could be a barrier for your business. So you want to make sure you know what contracting vehicles they're using. So you make sure that you position your business to be on there if it's a requirement, if it's needed. And then lastly, the performance. Performance is a biggie. You definitely don't want to be able to say you can perform and then you don't, because then you don't want to end up on an exclusion list. You definitely don't want to end up with, a negative CPARs. And then therefore now other agencies, if not other offices within that agency, for example, with VA, no longer wants to do business with your business because you weren't able to perform on the previous project that you were awarded. Now, I just went through and I mentioned with awareness, but market research. I know you've heard me say that throughout this entire time frame, but during the awareness phase, basically you looking at, does VA buy your services or products? Do you know where to find that information? Is VA currently doing business with your competitors? And if VA is, why should VA award the next contract to your business? Also, think about what makes your business services better than your competitors. And even though I've been mentioning market research all throughout, competitive analysis as well. When you get ready to either start in a business or even when you're already still doing business in that industry. And I'm sorry, I said if you get ready to start doing business in that industry, or if you're already doing business in that industry, you want to see who's also doing business. One of the stories that I like to always speak about is or use is one time me and my colleague we met with a business that wanted to sell this this product to our one of the medical centers, and they did a briefing, and then the buyer asked them, well, why should we do business with your business? Because we already have this same product from your competitor, and so we've already been using this product. Why should we switch up? And the business did not know what to say. So do that competitive analysis. Products may be similar in the eyes of individuals that are not the SMEs. I'm just using products as an example. It may look similar, but since you are the SME and you've done your competitive analysis, you can be able to communicate to those buyers, hey, here's what's unique, or what we like to call the differentiators from your capability statement. Here's what's unique about my business products or its services that are different. It may look similar, but these are the things here that I'm going to outline that makes it different and can save your, administration money or time. I already covered mitigating risk, but what you'll receive here is an example of the SWOT analysis that you could use, access as well. And then I discussed those procurement mechanisms, GWACs, the IDIQs, our veterans contracting program. Somebody mentioned that earlier, those blanket purchase agreements. You want to basically position yourself to where VA is buying. And then also with performance, revenue growth and cost control. I spoke about financing and accounting, the healthy bottom line. Customer satisfaction is a really big one as well. I mentioned that too. If you've had an unsatisfied customer, aka another administration or agency, then if of course if it's in CPARs or if it's by word of mouth, you definitely want to make sure that when people are discussing your business or potential customers are discussing your business, it's positive. These are also some additional resources that you will receive. You can use that for market research. I mentioned earlier about responding to RFIs and sources sought. Responding to those requests for information and sources sought, it basically helps to make your business visible to our buyers. Um, for, let's just say, projects that will be coming up in the next 6 months, even projects in the next, let's just say, 5 years. This is going to be valuable for building your business visibility in the market. Responding, it basically demonstrates your proactiveness as well as your interest in the project. And your response may influence how the project is structured, because by highlighting your capabilities and expertise, you can suggest approaches or solutions that might not have been considered initially. As I mentioned before, you are the SMEs. Us here in the agency, we might not know every single thing. And because you are out there, you can be able to come to us and provide that information to us to let us know what our options can be. Another resource is partnerships. One way a business may be able to position itself to compete is by partnering with other businesses. Earlier, I mentioned competitors and doing your competitive analysis, but don't always look at your competitors as competitors. They could also be potential partners. As a subcontractor, small businesses can gain those opportunities to build up their past performance, increase your experience, and gain the confidence of the procurement decision maker when it comes time to evaluate small businesses as a prime on future contracting opportunities. There's also the joint ventures. Joint ventures allows two or more small businesses to combine their expertise to respond successfully to those contracting opportunities. Now, when you are forming a joint venture, basically your product or that service expertise that you have, it's going to be combined with the assets, your liabilities, financials, and the size standards, among other variables. So when you are creating a joint venture, you want to make sure that you are creating well, I'm sorry. When you are creating a joint venture, you want to make sure that you remember that you are creating a new legal entity, whether it's going to be temporary or permanent. Because for some joint ventures, they decide we're just going to join together. Businesses decide we're just going to join together just for this, and then we're going to dissolve it. And then lastly, there's also the contracting team arrangements. And they are basically those formal agreements provided by the General Service Administration. So basically, by forming a contractor teaming agreement or arrangement, the General Service Administration scheduled contractors basically can compete for those scheduled orders for which they wouldn't otherwise qualify. They can take advantage of the streamlined acquisition procedures. They can increase their market share and become more competitive. They can also reduce the risk by sharing responsibilities with other team members and also focus on the products and services that best match the business resources and strengths. Meeting with your procurement decision maker. This is another resource. You want to network with the procurement decision makers in strategic investments. And I mentioned networking earlier. I mentioned social media platforms when you're going out to those industry days or small business conferences or summits, events, whatever the name is being used, whatever name may be used or type of event that it may be. Basically, it allows you to build that trust, gain valuable information, and position your company for success in competitive government contracting. So our procurement decision makers often involve more than just price, right? I'm sorry, our procurement decisions often involve more than just price, and our decision makers may choose a vendor they trust that has exhibited that good past performance. So basically, networking is going to allow for you to build your rapport, show your company's culture, and demonstrate your commitment to excellent service. Lastly, it's going to be used for resources. Here in the Small Business Office, we are a resource to you. What you see on the screen here is a few of our directorates. We have 3 directorates, and SOC, which is the directorate that I'm in. I mostly cover education and training and outreach events, but again, as I mentioned before, we have our direct access program office. We also have our Women Veteran-Owned Small Business Initiative, which focuses on the advancement of opportunities for women-owned small businesses, women veteran-owned small businesses, and female military spouse entrepreneurs that are looking to basically do business with not just VA, but eventually expand out into the federal sector overall, or just doing business in general as well. We also have our acquisition support office. They review what we call our 2268. They conduct small business reviews. And then we have another office, which we call our shared services office. Now, when you access this presentation, there are going to be a few items that you see highlighted blue, and then you're going to see a few items that have arrows. They have links to them. So it will take you to all of the resources that I'm mentioning today. I apologize, I should have said that probably about 55 minutes ago. You really don't have to take notes since this is being recorded, and all of the links that I'm discussing right now will be provided on the slide when you access it. Basically, we have a legacy forecast and we have I would like to call it our new forecast, but we're not 100% posting our um, our needs to the acquisition gateway. So you'll have to basically view both to see any forecasted items. Again, here's the map. As I mentioned earlier, Visit NCO, we use it interchangeably. The only difference with this slide is that you'll be able to select the SBL and it will take you directly to our small business liaison list. Right now, we're working to update the list, but by next week, I believe we should have the list updated. So we'll have the active individuals that are your small business liaison for whatever region you are looking to do business in. I mentioned Pathfinder earlier as well. Pathfinder is a centralized resource tool for businesses that want to do business with VA. It's the website currently, I believe, is slightly different than this one, but mainly focused on innovators and industry. If you would like to innovate with VA, select collaborate with VA, and it's going to be a form that pulls up, and you will basically fill out that information. Now they are going to request or ask you who is your, what did they ask for? Your sponsor, a VA sponsor. You can add me as your VA sponsor. Again, my name is Wendy Bray, just like the restaurant without the apostrophe and the S. You can put my information down and say that I am your sponsor. I am going to ask about, because it's a few questions that they ask me about your product. So I will ask you, hey, can you fill this out to let me know more about your product so I can submit it for you, because they won't be able to communicate with you unless you have a VA sponsor. The other path industry is selling to VA. Basically, when you select submit to market research database, it's a form is going to pull up and it's going to ask you a lot of information about your business. At the bottom, once you fill in all of that information, it's going to give you the option to upload. You have the option to upload your capability statement. I recommend you upload your capability statement. If you're not sure about your capability statement or you would like for someone to review it, our office do offer one-on-one capability statement review. So you hear me mention it a lot. You can definitely contact our email address, osdboost.com@va.gov, which you'll see on the screen in a minute, and you can request for a one-on-one, and we will schedule a one-on-one with you. Here are some other resources, your Apex accelerators, your small business development centers, SCORE, minority business development agencies. These are other resources in addition to us here at the OSDBU office that can be able to assist you as you navigate not just doing business with VA, but just doing business in general. I also am providing you with a doing business checklist. This is not going to cover every single thing, but remember when I mentioned earlier about the, and let me go back for a second. Right here for the framework for success, and I mentioned being ready, awareness. This slide here, and it's actually two slides connected to, is going to help you with that. So do you have your business plan, which generally you're developing your business plan as you're starting after you've decided, okay, I'm going to start up my business. Are you knowledgeable about the market? So you basically check off. Down here at the bottom, it says other, it's additional information that you need to add that was not included on here or pre-added on here. And again, there's an additional slide for you to add in any other additional information, basically to help your business, keep yourself in check. And then here are a lot of known federal acquisition regulations. It's going to be great information for you to have. You can go back and review it at your leisure. I saw there was something put in the chat that said OSDBU website currently has a lot of broken links, one being the Women Veteran Business Initiative. So I recommend you go to Curtis, if you're still on the call, can you please place the OSDBU website? So we're currently structuring our website. So when you go to the OSDBU website, majority of the links are actually going to direct you to the VetBiz website. So I recommend going to the main OSDBU website and then just selecting from there so it can take you to the appropriate website. Don't use any old links that you used to have. Oh, Amy, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that the Women Veteran-Owned Small Business Initiative website, we temporarily took it down for revision, but it should be back up sometime soon. So we appreciate your patience, but it was intentionally pulled down from our website while we are revising the content.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Amy. So just work with us as Amy mentioned, as we are restructuring our website. But don't use any old links that you've used before, because I know I'm really good for doing that. Go to our main website and select the links directly from there. Then here are the market research and procurement opportunities. I mentioned them earlier. SAM, one of the ones that I did not mention, DSBS, USA Spending, FPDS is on here, the data bank for SAM. Those are a few also resources you can go to. I'll update this to add DSBS on here as well. that you can go to identify opportunities. Or when you're conducting your market research, you can use those for conducting market research as well. We finally reached the end of our presentation, or of my presentation today. Um, Here's our contact information. This is the OSDBU Help Desk phone number, but if you want to reach out to us, OSDBU is OSDBU Strategic for short. Communication is shortened at va.gov. Please send us an email. Give us about 2 to 3 business days. Usually it doesn't take that long, and we'll respond back to be able to assist you. So I'll basically leave this slide up. I know that we're at 12:02, but I'll stop at 12:10, and I'll come over to the questions if there's anybody that's still on the call right now, and I'll try to answer a few more questions up until 12:10, and then we'll conclude. And if I am not able to get to your question by 12:10, please know that I will be responding to your question by next week. And if I skipped over your question because I didn't mark it, I do apologize, but again, I'll be responding by next week. Hello, I'm a SCORE certified mentor, and I have many clients who are veterans and service disabled veterans. Are there set aside or direct award opportunities for veteran or service disabled veteran suppliers? If yes, how do they find the opportunities, and what are the requirements for them to participate in those opportunities? So if it is set aside, you can definitely search for set asides on SAM, and or it's also mentioned in our forecasting. It will note whether or not it has been set aside for veteran-owned business, or whether it's SDVOSB or VOSB. So you just have to filter for that information. I've heard rumors that moving forward, VA may place, oh, I already covered one. I'm a professional organizer, a woman-owned small business, and a SDVOSB. Many of my veteran clients receive in-home support for bathing. How can complementary services like trauma-informed decluttering and life skills coaching further support their safety and independence at home? Um, I'm not sure if you're asking me that, or if you're asking how you can be able to support the life skills coaching. Um, Wendy, we share the same name. If you're still on the call, please send me an email so I can better understand what you are asking. Um, if you, yeah, send me an email. If you're not, I'll send the email out. What are the primary contract vehicles the VA uses to acquire professional services? If I'm not mistaken, I believe it is Spectre that we use to acquire, professional services. Will you discuss VA schedules? I mentioned some of them. As a matter of fact, I mentioned it earlier. If a particular product's already at Pathfinder, what is the next step? So if the product, are you saying on the innovative side? If you're speaking about the product already on the innovative side, or it's already been developed, then you would basically, if the product's already developed, then you're looking to sell it to VA. So you would follow that path instead of the innovative path. If that is what you're asking, if not, please place in here to clarify if you're still on the call. Hi, I'm a disabled veteran and founder of SAM.gov registered SDVOSB. We provide FDA cleared whole body EMS, electrical muscle stimulation technology, along with certified training for VA staff to support pain management, mobility recovery, and reduce PT costs. I've personally benefited from this tech through the VA and now want to help expand access to others. Who at the VA would be the best point of contact to discuss how we can support procurement and staff integration for this? What I would recommend is start with your small business liaison, but definitely if you are able to attend any of the industry days that they have, there will be a great opportunity to basically brief this product out to those VA buyers or the users of this product, so that they can be able to discuss it with their leadership as well. Do I need to have an EDI? I'm sorry, can you tell me what an EDI is? Or yeah, let me know what an EDI is. Let's see. Is there a department that manages contract opportunities? Oh, I read that one. My company provides and installs ADA compliant wheelchair ramps. Can you tell me how I would find those type of opportunities in SAM? Um, I would recommend that you actually, when you're searching for it, instead of using a keyword for that, although you could use a keyword, look on census to identify what the NAICS code is for that. You can also go on usaspending.gov and search for the keyword, whether it's a wheelchair or wheelchair ramps. actually instead of just wheelchair ramps, or input the NAICS codes to see what NAICS codes or product service codes VA is using when they're purchasing for that service, or if they're purchasing for that service. I've heard rumors. Okay. Sometimes it feels like this is duplicating the questions. Does the VA use a Oasis Plus? I believe VA does use Oasis, but I'll get back to you on that one. We may not. I'll get back to you on that one. I'm not sure. Who is the contact for security and protection services training? Um, Start with your small business liaison to find out within that region. And you can start with your local, whatever area you're looking to do business in, to identify who the point of contact would be. How does one become employed with or work as an OSDBU agent such as yourself? You can actually go to USA. Ooh, that's so funny. USA jobs. I was missing it because I'm so used to saying USA spending all the time. Go to USA jobs.gov. And if they are soliciting, whether because it's not just VA that has a OSDBU office, whether we call OSDBU, small business program office, SBPO, or a small business office, those opportunities will be posted on there. All right, we have 2 more minutes. Does the VA favor a joint venture small SDVOSB business versus one SDVOSB business? To be honest with you, whether you joint venture or not, it just depends on whatever the project is. When majority of the time when businesses are forming a joint venture, it's because neither one of them could actually compete for the project solo. So you basically would just partner with another business because you have a higher chance of competing, of excuse me, you have a higher chance of being awarded the project with both business skills instead of just one individual business skills. You're looking to connect with the Office of Research and Development. I'll reach out to you and I'll send you the point of contact information. My company provides and installs. Being a veteran, can I possibly access a map of the military or VA facilities in my state that I could market to? Actually, yes, it's a website, and what I'll do is I'll send you an email with the link. But or if you don't want to wait till next week, you can actually go online, and VA has a list of all of its medical centers at CBOC on their website. You can just and it's listed by their the region, so you can actually go on there for that, or I'll just send you an email with it. How do I become a prime contractor for my business for the VA? You just, I mean, it's a lot of things to become a prime contractor, right? You want to make sure that you are prepared to handle the project. But basically, it's just responding and being awarded the contract for you to be a prime. The best thing I like to say about being a subcontractor is that you don't have to worry about those kind of things that the prime does. But basically, that's how you could become a prime. Now, if you're stating, if you have specifics that you're asking, like for example, what industry, the industry that you're working in, whatever the needs are, you can actually reach out to us and I can schedule a meeting so that we can discuss it a lot further about whatever those needs may be to basically prepare your business to be a prime. And sometimes it may be just basically subcontracting to build up, for example, the past performance, or for example, forming a partnership to combine your experience with others. So it just really depends. I see that we're now at 12:10. I want to thank everyone for attending. Thank you, Amy, for joining as well. And then Curtis, he dropped the line, but he was responding to questions in the Q&A. So thank you very much. If there were any questions in the chat, unfortunately, I wasn't able to follow it, but just so you know, I will respond to those questions as well if you did not place them in the Q&A. Everyone have a good rest of your Thursday, and have a good weekend as well. Thank you.